Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, these model minorities were involved in this in-era flight. But black folks were still brought up. I mean, the hatred. The people that have black folks vacationing inside their mentalities on a daily basis is sinister on this, right? Now, again, this model minority myth continues to keep permeating various parts, especially various parts of America, right? Model minorities, right? It's like, well, model minorities, well, activate. No, not gonna do that. No, none of that model minority fantasyland type of model minority myth. No, not gonna do that. It's like when somebody says Asian or Asia. You like, what part of Asia? Asia is a freaking continent of several dozens of countries, uncalculable numbers of however islands, however numbers of prefectures and cities and wards and etc. Right? Different cultures and backgrounds and different ethnicities going on inside and sub-ethnicities inside. Right? Places like Armenia is Asian. Iran is Asian. Right? Parts of Russia is Asian. This is why I say supremacy is the most awesome mental manipulation force that's ever existed, because it continually have chaos in many people's mentalities with this model minority myth, and unfortunately also permeates in certain numbers within American Blackism, right? That do not look behind the veil of the generic Asianism, right? But let me go ahead and share this first screen. Let me share my screen on this one, this initial one. Give me one moment here. Can we do that right here? All right. Make sure here. All right. But again, right? Model minorities, right? No, what did I just say? No model minorities, no activation, but realisticness. Just like anybody else have good and bad. But the thing about it is this generic Asian model minority myth. And how you still got people forget there are numbers of Black Asians, not Black American Asians, but Black Asians in various Asian places that's still not really talked about, right? But you see how that goes, right? And again, Iran is an Asian country. Armenia is an Asian country, right? But people don't know. Parts of Russia is an Asian country. Yes, there are parts of Russia that is part of Asia. I'm telling you, but again, the brings of supremacy. So on this particular initial clip, you see some ones that were getting out of hand, right? On this situation. Now, let me sit there and show you this other one, this other video that's similar, but talks about a little extra in there, what was going on. So give me 1 second here. All right. Make sure it's the right one. All right, it's the right one. Okay, give me 1 moment here. Let me get this right first. Get that off here. Okay, make sure. All right. It's going to show up what this other person is talking about, making comments also on this.
This is the dramatic moment a mid-air brawl broke out among passengers after a group of women refused to stop making noise while the lights were dimmed. Budget airline AirAsia left departed Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, on Monday evening at 6 p.m. before those on board settled down on the 4-hour flight to China. But a father who was seated behind a row of 3 young women was furious when they carried on talking loudly. He asked them to be quiet, only for them to refuse. But tensions erupted after the man reportedly called the women stupid and told them to shut up. Footage shows a woman in a green outfit and baseball cap leaning across the seat while repeatedly throwing punches at the man, who cowered beneath the food tray. Desperate cabin crew members can be seen wrestling with those involved in the scuffle, while emergency lights are seen flashing. A woman on board the flight who recorded this video said the fist fight began around midway through the journey. We were sitting behind the row of women and listened to the quarrel. They were chatting too loudly while the lights were turned off, and the man in front asked them to be silent because he wanted to sleep, she said. The mother of one of the women then joined in. The friends then went up to attack the man. There were 2 women fighting the male passenger. I don't remember if the man asked the hostess to stop them from talking, but the cabin crew should not have allowed the situation to escalate, but when it was happening, they took charge and settled them down. Flight records show the Airbus A320 left the Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 6:11 p.m. local time, bound for the Chengdu Tianfu International Airport. It landed at 10:13 p.m. local time. Police were waiting at the airport to question those involved in the brawl on flight D7326. Officials at the Airport Public Security Bureau of the Sichuan Provincial Public Security Department launched an investigation. It is not clear whether any arrests were made.
Okay, that's enough of that. But again, model minority myth. Now let me go back and share, because one of the things I was talking about how is that still Black folks own numbers of people's mentalities, even though they had nothing to do. Hold on for a second. This one, hold on, let me get out and make sure this one. Nope, that's not the one I want to show. Give me a second here. Give me 1 moment. Give me 1 moment. All right, give me 1 moment here. I need to. Whoa. Give me 1 moment here. Okay, let me go back to one of the previous ones. Let me go. Give me 1 moment. Let me share back my screen. Go back to a previous one. I want to show you something on that. Okay. All right. Now what? Now go back to. Now watch this. Let me go back. Look at some of these comments. All right. Hold on. Where did I see that at? Give me a second here. Asians have been hearing about fatigue and want it in, right? Because you hear people hear about black fatigue, just this constant anti-American black hatred, even by black adjacent hodders who hot on the black banner. But when the heat and lava flow of anti-American black is going, they disappear, right? But how many got their own type of extreme tribalism hatred? And even unfortunately, in certain parts of the beautiful Caribbean islands, there is no such thing as pan-Caribbean love. Again, look at what Haiti is going through. You don't hear a lot of there's no pan-Caribbean love saying, hey, supremacists, stop messing with Haiti. Nope. Right? Look what's going on in Cuba, one of the biggest islands of the Caribbean, right? Should be a jewel of the Caribbean, but there are some numbers of jealousy within however parts of the Caribbean one applies to, right? But you don't sit there and hear there's Jamaicans sitting there jumping up and down saying, hey, no, we got to come together and help out our Caribbean island neighbor of Cuba. Nope. Right? You see how that goes. But there's still hatred by certain ones within certain parts of the Caribbean, the ones it applies to. They have an ingrained hatred toward American blacks because American blacks don't flee. Right? You see how that goes. So this right here situation, Asians been hearing about fatigue and want it in. Blacks said Asian copied their culture, such braided hair, hot hip hop, etc. I guess the Asian also adapt to their behavior as well. Right? That shows again that they apparently don't know real black American history. And so this parts of modern day are listening to what they think is real hip hop, and it's not on that. They think that's what hip hop is, and they sit there and see certain small numbers of black males doing certain not so good things and acting a certain way, and they think that's the representation of overall black American males. And of course, there's not. But that's the power of supremacy, right? And there are various parts of main media trying to show black American people, especially black American, a certain way. That's why it's so essential and beneficial to have an alternative trueness of black American media-ness to relate over reality, right? So you see it already again. Black said Asian copied their culture, such braided hair, hip hop, etc. I guess the Asian also adapt to their behavior as well. Again, Asia is a continent, but you see how people use the word generically Asian. That shows the naivety and silliness of some people this utilized in a generic fashion, even though Asian is a country made up of several dozen countries, including places like Iran, which is an Asian country. Armenia is an Asian country. Parts of Russia is an Asian country. So the same little fools, they don't talk about that part. See how that goes, right? But you got people that have black Americans in their mentality, man, day in and day out, right? Let me see here. I saw here. There is Asian rap music. But these ladies don't need any lyrics to get them started or acting out. The point is just to be saying there is Asian rap music, right? Again, do you think that's some conscious generic Asian rap music? Of course not. That got nothing to do with that. It is some bad version of somebody just copying what they think is cool black American music, right? And it's not. That's a section of a piece of something. You don't talk about black Americans in the creation of the jazz, black Americans that created the rock, black Americans that have foundation of the tenets of country music, black American music and soul, black American music and funk, black American music, black Americans in the tenets of pop music. The list goes on, but they don't want to talk about that, right? Because again, you got people that have this ingrained just disillusion what they think black Americans are. And you got people that copy some of the worst parts that they think is black American, but they ain't gonna talk about again the conscious parts, the reality, the achievement parts of black America. Thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show.